Hi. Welcome to another video, or should I say, welcome to another reading vlog, because I'm going to be vlogging my experience in reading these two Penguin Green Idea books. I have kind of been falling in love with these Penguin Green Idea books. There's a box set of about 20 books that you can see here that has a wonderful color palette, and each little book is written by a different author and is going to be about a different theme, but all with climate crisis and the planet at the center of it. I have done another reading vlog where I've read the two other books that I currently own. But right now, I'm going to be reading these two. So we have The World We Once Lived In by Wangari Maathai. So Wangari Maathai, I'm going to talk about it more when I read the book, but is a Kenyan? I think Kenyan Nobel Peace Prize winner who's been planting 51 million trees in Kenya, and she's a founder of the Green Belt movement. And this book is going to be about the role of trees and trees. I have started it, but I'm gonna tell you more when I've actually finished it, which might actually be today, because I've got a chill reading day in front of me. I say reading day, it's already 2 in the afternoon, so it's not really a day, but you get what I mean. The other book that I'm going to read is There Is No Point of No Return by Arne Naes. Arne Naes is a philosopher, a Norwegian philosopher, and I'm really curious how philosophy... He's going to weave philosophy into nature and what he's done. Apparently, he spent a lot of time on mountains thinking about nature. So really interested in this one as well. Now, in between the clips where I talk to you about the books, I'm going to take you along on some... what am I going to do? I'm probably going to go mountain biking, so I'm going to take you along with that, and I'm going for a run also later today, so a run in the forest, so I'll be filming that as well to show you a little bit of the surrounding nature that I have. I finished The World We Once Lived In by Wangari Maathai. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting information about trees and how wonderful trees are to the world, kind of in the Braiding Sweetgrass by Kiminer. But this was a lot more about the value of trees in our cultures, in the different cultures that there are, mainly focusing on African ones, because Wangari Maathai is originally from Kenya. It's about how, in a world that is urbanized, because there are no trees, we have lost a piece of ourselves, and the fact that we're always searching for more, that there's this piece, we're always going from left to right, we're trying to find peace, that is because there is so little nature around us, and that people that still live with trees close by have a lot more of that peace within. And she shows that trees have been important in cultures in general. So it's often a place where people will congregate. It's a place where spirituality can be found. So it was a lot more about that than I was expecting, because it says on the back, from the Congo Basin, blah, 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 Green Belt movement. I was expecting more of a, see, we planted all these trees and this was the effect, but it was a lot more about yeah, peace and spirituality, and it's a different way of looking at nature and what nature brings us. It was interesting because it's non-tangible. It's very up in the air. It's feelings. It's how do you find peace? Um, and I agree with that. But that's the reason also I show you these images of the forest nearby and why we moved here is because I love going for rides in the forest. It gives me so much happiness and peace. And that's also what she says in this book. It's being near trees is, it just gives you some space. It makes you feel that things are okay. And that would be a reason to keep trees around. And while I loved that message, at the last page or two, there were a bit more of a, if we take care of nature, then our countries will stay standing longer. So she was talking about how in Kenya at one point the army realized that they needed to preserve trees because then there would be less erosion. The desert would progress more slowly, and therefore there would be more resources and people would not go hungry. And that was the reason to, that was more important than defending the borders against other humans. It's how to best protect their people was to protect the resources that there are, because otherwise people move around and then we have less water, etc., etc. And that is a very tangible thing. That is a very tangible, economical even reason to protect nature, to do something against climate crisis. And I like that part. That part stuck with me. But the whole point, I think, of this book and the main message is things don't have to be tangible for you to save them. We can decide to want to do something about climate crisis, not only because if people start moving around, then we have more wars and that costs money. We can also do it just because it's the right thing. So that was an interesting thing that I saw also in my own process. I like the message in this one. It resonated. I wish it would resonate more with me. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I would recommend, however, even if it is a little bit more flowy and out there. I'm going to start. We are the 31st of December today while I'm filming this. And I'm going to start and I'm going to finish also There Is No Point of No Return by Arne Naes because I decided I was going to finish this one before the end of the year because it's good for my TBR numbers. And, well, it's good. It's needed for my TBR numbers. And today is a day that I don't have a lot to do, although I just spent the day cleaning and the day I haven't started reading. So I'm going to finish this today. Before I check in with you, so this one is going to be a little bit more philosophical. So I think it's going to build well on after this one. Before I check in with you at the end of the day, or maybe tomorrow, I don't know when I'll check in, I'm going to show you some images of a mountain bike ride I did yesterday. I have an old GoPro that my brother owned, so I borrowed it from him, and I took it with me while mountain biking. Just to show you a little bit of how that is like. I'm gonna have to work more on my filming on the mountain bike skills, I mean the positioning of the video, but I hope you enjoy and I'll see you in a sec. So I hope that didn't make you too dizzy. I finished Arne Naes's There's No Point of No Return. I finished it in one day. I finished it half an hour before the people that we were having over for New Year's arrived, so I'm really happy about that. It was a struggle. This is a lot of thought. Philosophy is not like I have it in my head, a lot of vague ideas. They're very specific ideas, and they're very nuanced, and nuance is, you can bring nuance, you can convey nuance through very complicated specific words. That there was a lot of long complicated words that were attached to other complicated words that formed complicated long sentences that formed complicated long paragraphs. this was work, but work that was worth it. I am really proud that I went back to the paragraphs that I wasn't really understanding to read them again and try to distill information from it. I didn't want to just finish this book to finish this book. So it's about ecology. It's about deep ecology. He starts by explaining what the principles of deep ecology are. He has like 8 principles, and if you don't adhere to one, then you don't adhere to deep ecology and you're not going to save the planet, is basically what he says. He's very black and white. He's very forceful even in his opinion. The part that I like most and that is going to stay with me most is one about the idea of the eco-self. And your eco-self, so he talks about what is yourself and community, and his point is that your eco-self is, how am I going to explain this, not trying to use the complicated words that he has. He points out that the person that you are includes the place that you are. The person that you are, knowing where you live, is going to be a different person if you lived in a different area. And he kind of came onto that idea through thinking about indigenous people who find their natural habitats completely destroyed and who are really hurt because the river, for example, is part of their identity. And if we thought about ourselves knowing that the region where we live, the plants that are around us, the people, the animals, the soil, that is also part of our identities, then we will also take care, if we take care of ourselves, including that part of ourselves, the environment, then that's going to be better for the planet. And he says, but it's not thinking about you and your environment, it's realizing in your core being that you and your environment are the same, kind of, and that we as Westerners can't yet grasp that idea of you and the river being one. So that was very interesting. The second part of the book was a little bit more about consumerism, and I have to say there was a passage, I saw a doodle in the book where I just did not understand what was happening. There's a lot that I'm proud for having gone back to, and there are some things that are like, okay, but this just goes too far. He talks also a little bit about the European Union and about peace, and let me see what I highlighted here. Maybe that's something interesting that I wanted to say. They wish to be different from what they were. They worked hard to develop, achieve, succeed, and be better, and they could not let time flow. No, I don't know what that was about. Oh, it was about Sherpas and Kathmandu and stuff. Yeah, really interesting. Would recommend reading it. Would recommend taking your time to read it. And I think this is one also that benefits from talking about it with other people, because it has so many great ideas that you can't take ideas and have them become part of who you are and how you think if you don't use different words and find different examples to think about them. And that's something you need to do with other people, otherwise you stay in your own bubble. So glad I read this one. I'm looking forward to, I'm gonna have to look into the other Green Idea books, because this little reading project was very interesting and I want to keep reading about nature, and maybe one day I'm also actually going to do something about it. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. The next time that I vlog with my mountain bike, I think I will have learned a little bit more how to do that better, so you have that to look out for. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to see you in another video, and bye bye.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, dum.